Hi, we're looking at one of the problems from this Unit 5 study guide. It's problem number 9. And the instructions say, look at the graph and write the function rule. And to do that, I'm going to make some suggestions. And the first thing I've done here is I've created a table on the side. And I want to evaluate the function at several points. So first of all, let's look at the point when x is 0, when x is 1, when x is 2, and I think where x is 3 up here about there. And let's go ahead and see if we can't find what those values would be. So when x is equal to 0, it looks to me like we could count up and we're at 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. When x is 1, y is 1, 2, 3. 3. And when x is 2, y is 9. And when x is 3, it looks like we're going up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 27. Now we know by visually examining this graph that we have an exponential. So you're going to have y is equal to something raised to the x power. Something raised to the x power. And it always makes sense when you're raising something to the 0 that you would get 1. So this little piece of information lets us know there's not another coefficient in front of it. So we're just going to have something raised to the x. And this tells us when we have this something raised to the x, we have something raised to the first power, we're going to end up getting 3. Well, the only way we're going to get that is if that question mark is 3. So I think we might have come across what is the solution to this graph. So let's try it. And let's make a hypothesis that our graph is y is equal to 3 to the x and see if this doesn't work. So if this is really equal to 3 to the x power, so when 3 to the 0 power is 1, that checks. 3 to the 1 power is 3, that checks. 3 to the 2 power is 9, again, that checks. And 3 to the 3 power is 27. So by process of just knowing what we know about exponential graphs, we were able to determine the function rule. Let's take a look at the next one here. Now we've got a line. And we have a line and we can calculate two things. To get the slope of a line, to get the equation of a line, we need two things. We need to know what the slope is. And we also need to know what the y-intercept is. And if we can find those two things, we can easily write the equation of this line. Well, first of all, when I look at the y-intercept, there it is. It's crossing at 0. So that's easy. So I know that b, the y-intercept, is equal to 0. And if I look at the slope, it looks like if I start at 0 and I want to find where it's crossing the line right here, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's up 3, right 4. Rise over run. So there you have it. So our equation is y is equal to mx plus b, and we've already figured out that y is equal to 3 over 4x, that's our slope, plus 0. And we really don't need to show the plus 0. We just don't have a y-intercept. So there's the answer for number 10. Number 11, I've actually added something in here. I've actually added some choices because without these choices, it turns out this is a pretty difficult problem to solve. So let's look at the graph first, and we're going to analyze what we have here. Clearly, this is an exponential. It's a J curve. It's veering off to infinity on both sides, right? It's got the x-axis as a horizontal asymptote, but it doesn't look like our typical growth, because remember, our growth would look like, if we had growth, we'd have a shape that looks like this, right? And if we had decay, so it would go up like this, that would be our growth. And if we had decay, it would be coming down like that. So clearly we don't have either of those. But if we had to say, what does it look more like? Well, it kind of has the look, this graph here kind of has the look of a reverse growth, like a reverse growth, because it's kind of a mirror image of the growth. So what that means is that we've got a negative sign. Okay, we've got a negative sign in the front here. So based on that, we're going to scratch out these two. It can't be them. It's got to be one of these two choices, right? So which one of these two could possibly be growth? And when we're looking at the factor here, this is either the growth or decay factor, we know that if it's decay, we know that the factor is less than 0, or it's less than 1. It's a fraction. Well, this is a fraction. So that's decay. And if we have growth, then our factor has to be greater than 1. So the only one of these choices that even makes any kind of sense, even without doing any serious analytics, is this guy right here. And so that's the choice for number 11. Hope that helps you better understand how to solve these and what the solution is, and gives you an idea of what you can expect on the exam and what I expect you to know. Stay tuned for more solutions for the study guide.